John Boy.
Lessons from the screen, what we mean is we go through different documentaries to tell you what they gon' do. Give you our lessons, give them our blessings. If they trash, we tell you there is no second guessing. Knowledge is power, but time is precious, and we're here to keep you from them lessons. So sit back as we groove, giving you the review, so you only spend time on the dots that you need to. Hey, and we back. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Lessons from the Screen, the show where we give you a review of whether or not a show, a documentary, a movie, or anything that you get through any particular digital screen medium of your choice is worth watching. We waste our time, our energy, and our brain power so that you don't have to. You're welcome. Lessons from the Screen is brought to you by PAX Inc. through the Freedom Train Network. You can find us at www.freedomtrainradio.com or on iTunes and Google Play Music. Just type in Freedom Train in the search bar and all of the Freedom Train shows will come up, including this one. Be sure to head to both places and leave a review on all the Freedom Train radio shows. You're going to love all those podcasts. Make sure that you go to the website, interact with us. We like interaction. And also be sure to head to www.pactsinc.org. That's paxinc.org to show some love and check out what our sponsors are doing, because they doing big things. PAX Inc. is a black activist and advocacy organization focused on developing the black community through a shift in culture, education, and economics. And as always, Lessons from the Screen has a frame of reference and a perspective that is aligned with that of the black community. So the documentaries and the documents and the movies and the television shows and whatever it is that we're looking at will be looked at with a racial component involved and with some lessons that can be used to help us improve the community or better understand our position in the world that we're in. This week, we will be taking a look at enforcers in hockey in a 2016 documentary by Brett Harvey, who was also the director of The Culture High and The Union, the business behind Getting High. This documentary is called Ice Guardians, and as of this show, it is available on Netflix. So at its core, Ice Guardians is basically a documentary about enforcers in hockey. How it started, how it progressed, who were some of the best at it. All the typical history points are covered with the typical sports documentary flair. Let's face it, we all love a good sports documentary. Captures the excitement of a sport, gives you the history, makes you feel like you're learning something, you're being educated, while at the same time giving you that high, that entertainment value that comes with the sport itself. It also looks at the evolution of the enforcer position in hockey and the evolution of hockey itself. So it gives you views from fans, from players, from medical personnel, from analysts, and from actual enforcers on what has become a big part of their job. So when you boil this documentary down, you basically get a documentary that pretty much is about fighting in hockey. When you take all of the fluff out, you're really talking about fighting in hockey, and the enforcers are the ones that do most of the fighting. So, and to be honest, hockey has become known primarily outside of hockey circles for fighting. So it is the enforcers that are the fighters, and it is the enforcers that this documentary takes a close look at. So they go into the culture of hockey. They compare it to the larger culture of human society that it sits in. They discuss the different leagues, the NHL, where fighting is tolerated versus overseas where it isn't. The motivations for fights are discussed by actual enforcers themselves as well as their teammates. And then the view swings outwards as the conversation begins to shift to human society and civilization. Brain trauma is also looked at, with the alarm bell sounded by the NFL studies and about concussions and trauma, various other things going on. So that issue is also addressed from not just an enforcer perspective, but from a hockey perspective in general. Players, medical personnel, researchers, they all talk about the statistics behind enforcer and fighting trauma and all these other things. And the entire documentary has the overarching question of, are these types of players still necessary? How do enforcers feel about the direction of hockey is also looked at. How they reflect on their experiences since hockey. Would they do it again? And, again, what do they think about how the game is played and the direction that the game is going in? It was a very, very decent documentary, very good documentary, especially if you are like myself and you don't know very much about hockey. It was a very enlightening documentary. It's not going to make you a hockey expert by any means, but it will cover the topic that we all like to cover when we talk about hockey, which is essentially the fighting. So this documentary had a very clear slant to it. It wasn't disguised very well, and I don't think it was intended to be disguised very well. It was a very pro-fighting, pro-enforcer, pro-United States style hockey documentary. But that didn't take anything away. Opposite opinions were given, but they were not given nearly the same level of screen time as the opinions that were slanted, obviously, in the same direction of the documentary. Talking heads, old news footage, witness and expert testimony. It was your typical run-of-the-mill documentary, nothing special. Being a culturalist, as always with most of these documentaries, what is going to fascinate me most in most cases is going to be the cultural component. And in this documentary, I felt like they did a very good job of giving you a broad view of the culture surrounding this very narrow segment of hockey, which is the fighting.